Welcome. In this video, we want to share with you a really important question that can change and transform your marriage.
This is a question that if you ask each other on a regular basis, it will allow you to avoid a lot of conflict, connect in ways maybe you've never connected before. And this is a question that we've asked each other consistently in over 15 years of marriage. It's a question that was actually given to us before we got married.
Right, our premarital counselor encouraged us to ask this question every week. And it told us that if we did that, we would enjoy a connected, vitalized marriage. I think he was right.
So this question we ask on our date nights, and it's what we call the date night question. Every couple that we work with, we give them this question and we ask them to ask it to each other, and we consistently hear that when they follow through on this, it makes a huge difference on their marriage. So you may be wondering, what is the question? Well, Amy, why don't you share it?
The million-dollar question is asking your spouse, what has it been like being married to me this week? It can sound like a pretty intimidating question because sometimes you don't want to know. There's definitely been times that we've been on a date and I was hoping Nathan would forget to ask because I didn't want to know the answer. But it is a powerful question. It is a transformative question. And you don't need to be intimidated to ask it. You need to be encouraged and empowered to ask it because it really can bring about a whole different level of connection and healing in your marriage.
So there's some rules with this question that Amy's going to share here in a minute. Many couples will ask us, is it wise to ask that question on a date night? Isn't that going to make the date night not go well? And that's a fair question. I will say this, that we have never heard of a couple asking this question, having this question ruin their date night. Date nights are for romance. Date nights are for fun. We're going to give some rules for date nights and how to do a date night well in a future video. But typically, if you're already on a date night, things are going okay. And if you ask this question, it's going to allow you guys to connect. The whole point of this is empathy. You want to understand and know, what is it like to be them married to me? When you hear that perspective, it will allow you to connect with them in ways you would not have before. It also allows you to be encouraged because there can be many positive things that they're noticing that they would not have otherwise shared with you. So you get to sit in each other's shoes. It softens your hearts towards each other.
Right, and one more thing that I would add before we go into the rules is it also keeps short accounts. If there are issues, if there are struggles or little irritants, it keeps a short account so that there is not a buildup of resentment and bitterness and hurt. And so it really gives an opportunity to keep the record of wrongs short and erase them quickly so that you can enjoy a better connection. So some of the rules for asking this question is each of you have to ask it, and you have to give the other person the opportunity to answer it honestly. And regardless of what they say, your response in return really should only be, thank you for sharing. And if they provide something that you need to work on, you can say, I will work on those things. Don't throw the salt and pepper shaker at them or the silverware. Don't get up and storm away. But hear what is said, because it takes a lot of courage and a lot of vulnerability to share honestly with somebody that you love something that might not be working for them in the marriage, something that they would like to see changed.
It can definitely be hard asking this question for the first time. It does sound intimidating, and it can be. We encourage you, though, that when you start, you'll find it's far easier than you would have expected. And it's far easier also than a lot of the needless conflict that happens because you're not checking in regularly with each other. You're not trying to sit in each other's shoes. When you do that intentionally versus reactively, when you're in conflict, it makes life far easier. It will change your marriage. It will help your marriage. And like Amy said, you both need to ask it, and you need to be honest. If your spouse asks that, you can't just say, oh, it's been a good week, and that's it. You need to tell them what it's been like. Things about conflict, about parenting, about your sexual relationship, about time spent, the good, the bad, the ugly. Keeping a short account with each other will allow you to, again, have softer hearts and stay more connected.
Avoid that contempt that can sometimes build up in marriage. So we have asked each other this question for over 16 years now. And I can say, honestly, there have certainly been times where we have shared, I'd like you to work on these things. But I would say the majority of the time it's been more positive. It's been more, hey, I noticed you did this week, and that really meant a lot to me, or I appreciated this. It gives you an opportunity to find both the positive and highlight that, not just the negative.
So we want to encourage you to try this question out this next week with your spouse. Even if it's not on a date night, that's okay. That's ideal. It doesn't have to be on a date night. You could ask it in the evenings. It can feel a little more awkward just asking it randomly in the middle, of living your life. That's why a date night it's a time set aside. You're already connecting. Typically, they're fun and relaxing. It's a little easier time to ask that. But share this video with your spouse. Say, hey, let's try this. And we encourage you to ask each other, what has it been like to be married to me this week?